You won't be rich, you won't have wealth, but you'll have something much better. Respect in the professional army. You will be respected wherever you go.
After the war, Mrs. Gandhi went on in 1973 to elevate you to Field Marshal. But did she also offer you the job of Chief of Defence Staff to go with it?
No. No, she didn't. She made me a Field Marshal. She said, Sam, you like the British, will you go as High Commissioner? And I said, no, Prime Minister, you've forgotten my oath. When I took over as Army Chief, I'd taken an oath and I told you I will accept nothing from the government, but I will command my army without any interference. She said, but you accepted the rank of Field Marshal. And I said, that was my birthright.
मैं जब एक कैंप में गया तो वहाँ सब सूबेदार मेजर और सरदार थे। तो जब मैं गया मैंने सूबेदार मेजर साहब पाकिस्तान सूबेदार मेजर साहब के हाथ मिलाया। मैंने कहा साहब मैं देख सकता हूँ। आप कहते साहब देखे। और वही सवाल हमेशा जो मेरे जवानों से पूछता हूँ वही पूछा कि साहब पलंग में खटमल तो नहीं है? कि नहीं साहब। मच्छरदानी है? मच्छरदानी हाँ साहब। मैं लंगर में जा सकता हूँ? लंगर में गया, वो जवान रोटी कूट रहा था जैसे अपने करते, उससे भी मैं खाना टेस्ट कर सकता हूँ। फिर लेट्रीन में गया, वहाँ पाकिस्तानी भंगी काम करता था। मैंने हाथ मिलाया, उसने इनकार किया। मैं कि मेरे साथ हाथ भी नहीं मिलाएगा? तो उसने हाथ मिलाया। जब हम वापस आ गए तो वो सूबेदार मेजर साहब मुझे कहते हैं कि हजूर आप गुस्ताखी माफ़ करेंगे? मैं कहा आप सूबेदार मेजर साहब हैं, जो मर्जी है कहें। कहता अब हमें मालूम हो गई साहब कि आपकी फ़ौज क्यों जीती है। आप आए, आपने हमसे पूछा खाना ठीक है, खटमल तो नहीं है, मच्छरदानी है वगैरह। भंगी के साथ भी आपने हाथ मिला। हमारे साहब लोग ऐसा नहीं करते, वो अपने आप को नवाबजादे समझते हैं।
I went to Pakistan about 2 months after the conflict, and they really gave me a first-class welcome. The governor, this was at Lahore, the governor invited me for lunch, gave me a martini before lunch, wines at lunch, and during lunch he said, General, will you do me a favor? So I said, if I can, Mr. Governor, I will. I thought he was going to be asking me about some relation of it. He said, my staff is outside. They want to shake hands with you. I went out, and there they were all lined up. About the 11th man took his pagri off and put it at my feet. So I picked it up. I gave it to him. ये क्यों आपने किया? कहता हजूर आप थे तो हम बच गए। मेरे 5 लड़के आपके कैदी हैं। उनकी चिट्ठी आती है कि आपने सबको कुरान शरीफ दी। वो लोग बैरक में सोते हैं, आपके जवान बाहर सोते हैं। वो लोग चारपाई पे सोते हैं, आपके जवान ज़मीन पे सोते हैं। आप जब जाते हैं हाथ मिलाते हैं सबके साथ, लंगर में जाकर खाना टेस्ट करते हैं। टर्न अराउंड, गवर्नर वाज विद मी। अब हम कभी नहीं मानेंगे साहब कि हिंदू खराब है। And I got into trouble in my own country. The bureaucrats and the ministers complained about me कि चीफ साहब तो उनको ऐसा रखते हैं कि जैसे उनके जवाई हैं, as if they were my sons-in-law. They complained against me, cabinet meeting, at the meeting. Mr. Gandhi looked at me. I said, Prime Minister, they were soldiers. They fought. They fought extremely well. They lost. And I'm looking after the soldiers. It was after the 1971 conflict. I was in my room. There was a little girl from some magazine. She came and talked to me about all sorts of things. She ate my chocolates and she did all sorts of things. And then she asked me that, Field Marshal, you belong to the Frontier Force Regiment, which is in Pakistan. Why didn't you go to Pakistan? And I said, Mr. Jinnah did ask me. I said, I've finished commanding. I'm now an Indian. I've married an Indian girl and I'm here. And then she asked me, and what would have happened if you'd gone to Pakistan? So I bent her over and slapped her bottom. I said, I should have won the war and I would have thrashed you.
On 1st of January 1973, he was made India's first Field Marshal, a rank that is held for life. He therefore continues to be the senior-most officer of the Indian Army.
This was in Burma in 1942. I was commanding a Sikh company, big tough chaps. I had a man called Sohan Singh, big man, stood about 6'4". So we had a promotion conference with the commanding officer, and Sohan Singh's name came up, and I said, no use making him, he'll be broken tomorrow. So he was passed over. I came back to my Basha, where my company was in the jungle, and I found my senior Subedar, Balwant Singh, terribly worried. And he said, Saab, Sohan Singh ko kaid kar diya. I said, क्यों क्या हुआ? उसने बोला कि आज आपको साहब गोली मारेगा. ओ अच्छा, पेशी होगा. सोहन सिंह क्या बात है? साहब गलती हो गया. ऐसे तुमने बोला कि तू हमको गोली मारेगा. I picked up the pistol, loaded it, walked up to him, handed the pistol to him. I said, तेरा दिल है मारने का, मारो. And he said, नहीं साहब गलती हो गया. So I gave him a tight slap. Case dismissed. जा भागो. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you think I wasn't frightened, you are mistaken. I was terrified. If once you show fear in front of men that you may be commanding, it doesn't matter whether they're soldiers, they are clerks, they're labor, there are students. Once you show fear, you should quit.
What was your greatest achievement in the army?
Tito, from the rank of second lieutenant to field marshal, I have never punished a man. My adjutant general, when I was the chief, and my judge advocate general used to get, wild court-martial proceedings would come to me. If they said not guilty, I'd sign. If they said guilty and punished, I'd take the file home, I'll look at it, I'll say, no, I think witness number 3 has lied, it's the so-and-so thing. And they say, how can we maintain discipline with you as the army chief? You not punish. I said, you damn chaps, sit in Delhi with your wives and your children in lovely homes, and you forget what those chaps are going through. One evening, at 4 o'clock in my office, I was having tea when Mrs. Gandhi rang up. She was in Parliament House. Sam, are you very busy? And I said, Prime Minister, the Army Chief is always busy, but never too busy to talk to his Prime Minister. She said, can you come over? And I said, I'm having tea here. She said, I'll give you tea. I said, I have good tea here, you'll give me muck. He said, come over. So I said, okay. So I got hold of the ADC. I said, the girl wants me. Come on, get the car.
The girl wants me.
I always knew I'd talk like that. So we got into the car, went to Parliament House. She was sitting in her office with a kidney-shaped table. I walked in my breezy way. I said, hello, Prime Minister. You seem worried. What's wrong? She said, I've got problems. So I said, cry on my shoulder. What are your problems? And she looked me straight in the face and said, you are my problem. So I said, now what have I done? Have I made a speech? Have I done something stupid? I said, what have I done now? He said, everybody says you're going to take over from me. So I said, and what do you think? She says, you can't. And I said, oh, you think I'm so incompetent? I didn't mean that, Sam. You wouldn't. She has a long nose, I have a longer one. I put my nose next to her. I want to tell you, I have no intention or even a thought of getting involved in politics or taking over, as long as I command my army without interference. When I became army chief, Morarji Bhai was the finance minister in Mrs. Indira Gandhi's cabinet. Then he became prime minister. Mrs. Gandhi lost the election, he became prime minister. One day he said, I believe you drink. So I said, yes, I have. You mustn't drink. Very bad for you. So I said, Prime Minister. I come to my Prime Minister, he said, you mustn't drink. I go to a party and I talk to a pretty girl. My wife says, you mustn't talk to her. I'm a field marshal, is life worth living? He says, your wife is quite right. Drinks and pretty girls will ruin you. I said, they haven't ruined me so far.
Soon after the war, General Manekshaw was awarded the Padma Vibhushan for his exemplary contribution to the nation.
I was sent to Kashmir with V.P. Menon, who was the state secretary. The Maharaja's army the Muslim element had revolted, the tribesmen had come in, and I was sent there with him, V.P. Menon, to see if he could get the accession from the Maharaja, see what the military situation was like. And at about midnight, the Maharaja signed, kept on saying, you must send soldiers in. He said, we can't send soldiers into your state unless you accede to India. So at midnight he acceded to India. V.P. Menon handed over the accession papers to Mountbatten. Mountbatten looked at me. He said, Manekji. He didn't call him Manekji. What's the military situation like? I said, very bad, sir. The tribesmen are busy looting and raping about 9 kilometers away from Srinagar and the airfield. If they once get in, we've lost Kashmir because we won't be able to fly troops in, etc. So he looked at Nehru and Nehru talked and all until Sardar Patel lost his temper. He said, Jawaharlal, do you want Kashmir or do you want to hand it over? He said, of course, Kashmir is ours now. So he said, will you issue orders? And before he could issue orders, Sardar Patel said, you have received your orders. So I walked out and we started flying troops into Kashmir.
What was your relationship with Sardar Patel like?
Sardar Patel was Home Minister, and I had a good relationship with him. Every morning, V.P. Menon and I would go to his place and he would be sitting down there. His daughter, Bunny Ben, sitting cross-legged with a Parker fountain pen, a brown Parker pen, taking notes. And he would say, VP, I want Baroda. Take him with you. I would go as the bogeyman in uniform. When the killings were taking place in Calcutta, by British Commander-in-Chief, he came along and said, hey you, the Sardar wants you in Calcutta. So I said, why me, sir? He phoned, he wants you there. An aircraft has been laid on for you. So I went there. The Sardar was with the Chief Minister, B.C. Roy. When I went in there, he said, I don't want arguments, etc. I'm going to ask you a question, I want an answer. If I hand over the situation to the army, how many Bengalis will you kill and how long will it take you? I was a very young brigadier. So I opened my mouth. I said, sir, about 100, about a month. So he said, turned round to Bidhan Roy, he said, thousands are being killed. He said, go and kill them, take over. And he deployed troops all over Calcutta. We didn't have to kill anybody. Everything finished. He said, come here. And in Gujarati he tells me, तुम्हें साचू नहीं बोलो?
Looking at your life as a military general, having all that power at your command, are you happy with the way things went? Was there anything you would have liked to have done differently in your entire career as a general, as a soldier?
Quite happy.
And how about your personal life?
I had a very pleasant personal life. I had my 2 daughters, I had my grandchildren, I had my wife, I had my Gurkhas, quite happy.